Madam Clerk, if you could please take roll call.
Commissioner Wilson has requested an excuse. Commissioner Kenizik. Commissioner Clark Coleman. Commissioner Kenizik. Commissioner Colleen. Chair Clemente,
Here.
you have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item,
B, Chairwoman's remarks.
I have none. Next item,
C, approval of the February 26, 2025 meeting minutes.
I have a motion from Commissioner Clark Coleman and seconded by Commissioner Clean. Please vote on your tablets for approval.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item, please.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
All right, let's move to new business. Item number 1, please.
Item 1, under new business, requesting commission approval of a grant agreement with the Michigan Department of State for the Help America Vote Act Election Security Grant for the reimbursement of the clerk's office costs incurred for election security.
And I just saw someone from the clerk's office walk in. Seals. Dwayne, if you'd like to come up, please. Can you please introduce yourself? You're number 1.
Hi there, I'm Dwayne Seals, Chief Deputy Clerk. I'm
Okay,
here. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
let you catch your breath. And so this is a grant agreement between the state and the county to help with getting some equipment, correct? And if you just want to give us a little highlight of what has happened so far.
Exactly, this is a grant. Oh, excuse me, to this honorable body. Thank you very much for having the chance to come up and speak with you. This is a grant for our elections division. We received this $84,000 grant. It's a reimbursement. So it depends on how much we actually go out and purchase. We'll receive that money. The grant actually, we had to go out and purchase the equipment before February 28th, I think it was, in order to receive this grant.
So you have purchased things already or you're in the process?
Actually, in the process. So
Okay.
we just had to just
Right.
accept it and to know that we're going to.
And there's a little discrepancy of $2, which you're going to pick up, right?
We'll double check that.
Okay. Commissioners, do you have any questions about this? Yes, Commissioner Clean.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm noting that the term of the grant agreement is from October 1 of 24 to February 28 of 25.
Yes,
So we're going to be asking to be reimbursed for equipment after the term of the grant has expired.
what we had to do is go out and actually get a procurement to actually go out and get the order. We don't have the equipment yet, but we just had to show that we're getting this equipment, go out and actually.
Went to the feds. Because I see this as a pass-through
State.
grant.
State, this is state.
So the state, so you have to submit to the state.
Yes,
Here's our invoice within the grant period.
yes,
And we're waiting on UPS to show up.
exactly.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Is,
Oh, we're gonna do that.
Um,
I'm in.
and second. And if you'll vote on your tablets, please. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Oh, hold on a second. I'm not, there we go. Okay, thank you.
Motion carried.
Thank you. If we could take the next 2 items, please, items number 2 and 3.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of Amendment 3 to a 5-year contract with Health Management Systems of America to management designed to reduce pain and costs associated with emotional, social, and physical problems on and off the job.
And then can you read item number 3 also, please?
Item 3, requesting commission approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission Training Institute for discrimination and harassment training to assist Wayne County supervisors and managers in completing required training per the civil services rules.
Does anyone have any questions on these items? Yes, Commissioner Clark Coleman.
So this is a federal grant?
Is there someone from HR here that could come to the table, please? Are you talking about number 3, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it sounds like to me. that
It does.
Donald Trump hasn't had a chance to look at it.
Could you all please introduce yourself and then we will ask you our questions.
Sure. Donna Wilson, HR Director.
Kimberly Price, Director of Benefits.
Cody Bivens, EEO Analyst.
Okay, so this, Commissioner Clark Coleman has a question about this, and this started the training, let me see,
Was this
started
approved?
so year.
Yeah.
So, okay, so go right
this-
ahead, Clark.
This was probably approved
Yeah.
last year. right?
Yes.
This is last year.
Correct. This, it's not a grant, it is an interagency agreement. And so this is a continuation of the training that we did start last year.
And you had that training in November, correct? The first round?
That is correct. And I'll let Cody Bivens continue to talk about the training and information, but this is the second round.
Okay,
This second round, we have 5 dates scheduled. 4 of the dates are for the Department of Public Services to cover their supervisors and managers. And then we have a virtual training for makeup, anybody that missed in November, for any various number of reasons.
and this is highly suggested that everyone takes this training?
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
and how do they register that they've taken the training?
So we will have sign-up sheets. We did that previously as well. And we'll also have them pre-register either via email, or if it's a calendar invite, they can respond to that, and that could be easily tracked.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions?
So it's March 26th. The agreement is from March 26th, 2025 to April 8th.
8th of 2025, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is this something that we're gonna have on a continual basis, or is just one time payment, one time?
I think from here, we would look to explore our options if we do the training internally, but we, as laws change, that kind of thing, continuous training.
Okay, so, and these are federal dollars? Where are they coming, where's this money coming from?
So it'll be charged to the Labor Relations Department.
Oh, so these funds come from the county?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
I
okay.
did not realize they were county funds. I thought they were federal funds. And I was wondering how you pulled that one off.
All right. If I could get a motion for items, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Clean, would you have a question?
Maybe even 2, Madam Chair.
No
Thank you.
problem.
I'm on item number 2 with Health Management Systems of America, and I'm just trying to follow. This is the 3rd amendment
Correct.
to a 5-year contract. Does that mean the original term of this contract was October 2018 to September 30, 2023? Was that the original?
Mhm.
Commissioner, the original date was 2018 through 2024. It was a 5-year agreement.
Here.
So then this is the 3rd contract extension.
Correct. This is the second contract extension.
It's the 3rd amendment.
Correct.
What did amendment number 2 do? I thought that the second extension was requested to seek competitive bids. And that's what you're telling us for the 3rd extension here too. Same thing. For the next EAP, Employee Assistance Program. And more time was needed to develop a fit for duty program for the sheriff. So we did the second extension to seek competitive bids.
Correct. And we are.
And they were in the middle of this thing for the sheriffs.
We are currently in the RFP process and we wanted to expand the RFP. So we did not want our current EAP services to lapse. So that's why we asked for an extension to allow us to complete the RFP process.
So we extended it, the second extension. Well, if the contract ended 24, wouldn't have that extended it 25? I'm looking at the dates and I'm like, it seems like the second and the third are basically the same.
They're basically extending the timeline. So the second one was from 10/1/2024 to March 31st, 2025, which is about 6 months.
That was only 6 months.
And then this one is March 31st to September 30th, 2025.
Have we had RFPs or
Yes,
RFQs out?
yes, we are in the process of now, the committee is
Are
meeting
you
and
getting
scoring.
responses?
Oh, yeah.
That you're, okay. So this one then. So we're not going to see Amendment 4?
No, it is
Like-
not our intention to have
Not a-
Amendment
oh,
4.
Okay. Because just, it's a little difficult going through here to
Yes.
see where are we really with this kind? Number 2 looks like number 3 and we've already done that. All right, but I appreciate the explanation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Any other questions on items number 2 or item number 3? Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Clark Coleman, seconded from Commissioner Clean. If you would please vote on your tablets.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We could go to the next item, please.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of a comparable source professional services contract with a 1-year option to renew with Freddie G. Burton Jr. to provide consulting services related to behavioral health initiatives and programs.
Thank you for joining us at the table. If you could all please introduce yourself.
Darcel Brown, Chief Assistant to the Deputy County Executive.
Sue Hammoud, Deputy Corporation Counsel.
Press your button.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Can you hear me
yes.
now? Thank you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Pull it up to you, Freddie.
Pull it up.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
kind of got to be on top
Yeah.
of it.
Got to be on top of it. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's the way.
And I've never been told that my voice was kind of soft, but I will speak loudly. Thank you very much.
I didn't say that, Jeff.
I'm Freddie Burton. I'm retired, recently retired probate judge. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, thank you. So can you please explain to us what we are looking at this contract for?
Yes, I'll start off and then I'll hand it over to Sue. So before you have a personal service contract for Judge Freddie Burton Jr. As you all know, he has retired from the Wayne County Probate Court after 37 years of service, in which you all acknowledged him at one of the most recent commission meetings. Seeing that, we thought it would be in the best interest for us to collaborate with him as a consultant. So with this personal services agreement, he will be assisting the county and the probate court to continue the growth of the county jail's mental health initiative. He will also be a consultant on matters concerning the JDF and juvenile justice system. As we all know, he is knowledgeable about Wayne County's operations, and being a former Wayne County commissioner as well. He is an expert in addressing mental illness in the justice system. He's worked with DWIN, HHVS. Judge Burton created the Wayne County Probate Court's Behavioral Health Unit. So I would definitely be helpful to link up with him, and I'll hand it over to Sue.
Just briefly, again, I think Judge Burton needs no introduction, but this contract provides the county with the ability to continue to tap into the wealth of knowledge, experience, and innovation that Judge Burton possesses with respect to behavioral and mental health issues within the county and throughout the county. So we do believe this is an essential contract. I will address, just because I've had some side questions on the compensation of the contract. I want to point out that that is over 2.5 years, and it is not a 1-year amount.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I went, oh,
Yeah.
right.
It is from the time commission approval through September 30th of 2027.
Okay.
And I will refer this body to the Appendix B, which is the hourly rate compensation that is contemplated in the contract. And I think that everybody here looking at that and considering Judge Burton's experience will agree that that is a very reasonable rate for his services.
Yes, we all know how knowledgeable he is and well-respected. So do we have any questions from commissioners? Okay, go ahead, Commissioner
Okay,
Clark.
so I certainly would never question his background and institutional knowledge that he brings to this position. That question was one of my questions I was going to ask about the sum. But no, the fact that it's a 2.5 year compensation seems very, so will you be, tell me who you'll be working with directly? Who will you be consulting?
With the county,
Yes, with the county.
not with the court, but
Oh, I
with
know
the
that.
county.
Yeah, with the county, yes.
And so the goal really is to expand the services that we've been providing through the court. Now that I'm out of the court, there's an opportunity now to get more involved with hospitals, get more involved with children who unfortunately have the experience of dealing with mental health issues. And so we're very, very excited about this opportunity. It was, quite frankly, I was prepared to retire and call it a day. But I got a call, I got an opportunity, and I thought this is a good thing to continue, and that is to work on what we've been putting in place before. We started the behavioral health unit back in 2018, but actually even before that, in 2015, Chair Alicia Bell got the Stepping Up program through the County Commission. Commissioner Killeen has been heavily involved in this kind of activity. And so we think I think it's really very, very important. And I look forward to continuing to partner with anyone who wants to talk to me, have me come out and speak at any time. I'm available to do so we can figure out how we can better address the needs of those who have behavioral health and substance use disorder issues.
I think it's a great selection.
Thank you.
And we have a question from Commissioner Knizek.
I don't have a question. I want to tattle on myself.
You want to
Sue was very gracious when she said external questions. She meant David.
Wasn't just you.
David.
Just you.
I'm
I've seen other
Doug.
people.
I was sweating it over here. I was like, man, I love the judge so much. That dollar's crazy. She says 2.5 years, David. And you break it down, it is more than reasonable. There's no question. And just again, based on the judge's experience and knowledge that he can bring and outside the box thinking, I think it's great. So Sue, thank you per usual for setting me straight.
And Commissioner Killeen, did you have a question?
Yeah, a few questions here. Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to say for the record, the judge is a former Wayne County Commissioner from the northeast side of the city of Detroit. So you've been very much involved. Now, this says probate court, but it sounds like you're also going to work on some other more county-wide. Well, what do you see as the scope of what you're going to be able to provide?
First of all, the behavioral health unit, which is what we started several years ago, it is not part of this. This is about handling the issues. It's solely in Wayne County, not including Wayne County Probate Court. Okay, and so the goal is to expand and grow. A few years ago, we had maybe 20 or 30 people who were partnering with us. Now we have close to 100. As you probably well know, Commissioner, you've been very active in this area, and you know how important it is to me and how important it is to you to make this work. The Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, we partnered big time over the years, and we're making significant progress. But there's still some challenges.
That's what I'd like to hear you talk about, Judge.
Yeah, the challenge is really, it's not about money. It's about getting partnership, particularly through hospitals. They play a critical role in this. We've been very fortunate that we made significant progress with the local police around the county, and we expect that we'll be working throughout the county. I can tell you, you may recall that in Livonia a year or two ago, Judge Kenny and I met several times with that city to make sure we have in place support to develop how we can get people assistance. You know, I had a case this morning as an example. I'm still occasional visiting judge. I had a case this morning involving a citizen who lives with her husband, and unfortunately, she thinks that he is trying to kill her.
Oh, wow.
And interestingly enough, her husband, he understands her illness. He works with their kids, their adult kids, attempting to get assistance. My order then was this, based on what they asked that I make a determination that she be placed in a hospital for up to 60 days with an assisted outpatient treatment component to the order. Well, the goal under the law is, as soon as that person stabilizes, you've got to release them. So let's just suggest that she's out of the hospital in the next 2 weeks. 5 days preceding the discharge from the hospital, notice will have to be given to the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network, Behavioral Health Unit of the court, to the family, to agencies that are involved. Why? So we can avoid this revolving door where you go into the hospital, get stabilized, get released, and then go back all over, start all over again. Instead, this poor woman, who's her loving husband, is attempting to make sure that she doesn't do harm to him or to anyone else, but to have people assisting, working with you instead of having family try to do it. In fact, a lot of times families just give up. They just absolutely give up because they're all alone. But now we think that we're making some real progress in terms of making certain that we work together. For example, while I don't get any funds from the probate court, they've assigned that behavioral health unit person who is there for every hearing, so that they can make sure that they coordinate what's happening with DWIN, what's happening with the court, what's happening with the police, what's happening throughout our county as it affects the individuals who are involved. And so that's really still a challenge and still go forward. We also still see people who will come in on an emergency basis and ask to be taken to protective custody. That is by family members. And we have to be very careful that we don't just take the due process rights of individuals, say, oh yeah, this person has been ill, let's put them in hospital. No, we have to really talk to each other and try to figure out how we can go about the business of moving forward in a fashion that's appropriate. I also want to suggest to you that a real issue that we're working with throughout the state is to have a uniform process in place in terms of how we can address these particular needs. And it's just, I know you work in this hard and long, and I know that you're sensitive to this, and so am I. But it's not about money. It's about trying to help those who are suffering. And so what we're starting to see more and more of is sort of step down or trickle down to teenagers. And we're trying to make sure that we're available to try to help and grow. And so this will give us a great opportunity to really address this particular kind of approach to helping our citizens in our county.
Yeah, because there has been in the last decade in our correctional facilities and there's been all sorts of new mental health coming in. And I do think the idea of having that more coordinated so people aren't tripping over each other. And I want to say it delicately, but there's been difficulties in dealing with hospital systems around some of these issues. Part of what they're charging you with, I mean, we have an enormous shortage of mental health beds in hospitals. Hospitals are supposed to report to the state how many mental health beds they have. And then when we go access those beds, the hospital is like, well, no, we don't have that many.
Right.
Even though they are obligated by law to provide that many beds. And now we have, who was it that just had the big announcement of their big mental health hospital?
Dr.
120 beds or something. Who was this? Who? Michigan Medicine announced that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding of that situation is that it's not providing any new beds. They're going to pull people in mental health beds from their other hospitals and put them all in one building.
Mm-hmm.
but it's not creating new beds. Is this the kind of issue that you might be looking at in your consulting role?
I'd be happy to work in that. For example, I drive past the new facility that's being constructed on Haggerty Road in Livonia, which is to build beds for kids. And I can't wait to see how that's working out. We don't have not a lot of information about it, but it is part of what you just mentioned in terms of hospitals and being open. And so we're going to be working hard with that. But I'm not here to suggest that I have all the solutions, but I still have the fire that's in my belly that makes me want to come here and work hard. And so when issues arise, particularly from the county, from county commissioners in particular, I want to know about it, and I want to have the responsibility to work with those who are involved with this. And quite frankly, there are a lot of agencies locally that are working, and my role has been primarily try to bring people together. And we've had some success. Interestingly enough, I don't know if it still continues to be the case, but as a judicial officer, somehow or another, when you have a judicial robe that walks into a room, people tend to sit and talk and listen. They may not listen and talk, but we're going to continue to work to help them listen and talk and make certain that we make progress going forward.
Because the county's CMOs, the care management organizations, play a very large role with our youth. Are they part of the coordinating into a larger whole? Is one of the things you're looking at? You're looking at systemic stuff, right?
Right, but you also have to look at certain groups that haven't been included in the past.
No.
And so when we're talking about kids, that's what we're talking about, getting out to the schools, sharing information, finding out if there's families that are involved, that how somehow or another we can work together. Again, I don't have all the solutions, but I can definitely tell you that what we're trying to do is bring people together, make sure that we hold ourselves responsible. I mean, this is not something that just started happening. And everyone in this room, I suspect, knows someone or has someone who is a loved one that's dealing with behavioral health issues so it's a really serious issue. And I welcome anyone, any of you here, anytime that you want to call on me, or if you want to call on members of the organization that I'm involved with. I serve as chair right now, the Flynn Foundation, which is an agency that's dedicated to
Who provided enormous grants in this area of mental health. The Flynn Foundation has been outstanding.
Yeah, and so it's been an honor for me to have the opportunity to serve in that capacity, along with a number of other agencies. And anyone who feels like you have a question, you have a need, you have a concern, I hope you'll call, hope you'll contact us. The Center for Behavioral Health and Justice out of the Social Work Department of Wayne State University is a tremendous agency that coordinates and works with us so that we can, when I say something and make a decision about something, or any member of that body or any commissioner, then we make it immediately go to that agency. They respond, they're outstanding. And so it gives us some teeth and an opportunity to make progress.
Well, nobody has all the answers, so don't feel bad about that at all. But I think your role and your knowledge in helping to coordinate this and having a more integrated system is all for the good. And thanks for delaying your retirement. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Well, if I could please get a motion on this item. And a second. So we have a motion from Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Right, there it goes. Came back up.
And second, if everyone could please vote on their tablet. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Madam Chair, we are now going to move, or I'm the chair, Madam Clerk, we're now going to move on to items 5. And on the addenda, item 6, these are both IT items. If you could please read those in.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of an addendum to a 1-year cooperative agreement with SHI International for the Splunk Cloud platform software subscription to collect, search, monitor, report, and analyze all of the county's real-time historical network activity. And item 6 on the addenda, requesting commission approval of an addendum to a one-year cooperative agreement with CDW Government LLC to provide Blue Voyant software subscription and 24/7 monitoring services for the Department of Information Technology.
Okay, is there someone here from IT, please? So we all know what happened on October 2nd, and if you guys could please explain to us what these two items will do for the county and our technology.
Good afternoon. Ryan Hayes, Division Director of Computing and Infrastructure. So basically these two items, one is for Splunk Cloud. So that's going to take all of the logs from our various systems, our firewall, network devices, and put it all in one place. And then the second piece is the monitoring and the reactionary activities that would take place. And that's where Blue Voyant comes in. So they will act on our behalf to take care of any incidents that might arise from the logging platform, such as, viruses, anything like that.
Okay, and the Blue Voyant is through an MI deal contract, and
I think the Splunk Cloud is through a co-op.
through a co-op. Okay, so, okay, very good. Commissioners, do you have any questions on these two items? Commissioner Clean?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's one thing I've been considering for a while. We're bringing in all these outside firms and they're knee deep in our data. What protections are there in these contracts for some of our data to be sold off somewhere? Or what are the protections we have for these outside contractors that are, they're at the heart of our system and looking at stuff? So how is that handled contractually?
In this case, the data that we'll be sending is log data. So it's nothing that would be confidential or anything like it's basically, login information, some device activity
I
information.
was thinking of the Blue Voyant
Voyant.
contract. That seemed to be a little bit more
So they
integrated into our daily operations.
they will be monitoring that logging data that is sent and analyzing it. And, if there is any anomalous activity, that's when they would act on our behalf or make us aware of the issue. So they are not getting access to, Wayne County devices where they're going to be looking through our data or, copying files anywhere.
So they're gonna be looking at the data and then saying to you guys, you might have a problem here. Is that how it works?
Sure. Hector Roman, Director of Information Technology Department, they will actually act on our behalf. So when they were looking
Yeah,
at
see,
the
that was
logs
what got me. I'm like, uh-oh, act on our behalf.
to
What
isolate.
if they're not a good actor? What's our protections?
It's in a contract, and actually the company is kind of one of the best in the industries. So when they detect abnormal activity, if a laptop has a virus in the middle of the night on a Sunday, they will actually go and isolate that device and clean that machine, and then they'll let us know immediately. Will definitely help us tremendously.
But they're in our system. Part of the system.
They're part of
I'm just
one
asking
of our security
contractually.
systems.
If we have a problem with what they're doing, or if they're going places they shouldn't, or whatever, I'm very protective of our system. Contractually, how do we have them boxed in so that we don't have any issues of getting more in our data than the contract specifies?
Yeah, I mean, we will, part of the kickoff with them is we determine what we want them to respond to. So I think, you know, to Hector's point earlier, if I'm working on my machine on Saturday at 1 a.m. and I click on something bad, you know, we have a small security team, you know, at the county to respond to those issues. So we don't expect somebody that's going to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning to respond to something like that. So that's where this company comes in. It's all US based. It's all, everything stays in the US. They've been a top tier partner with Microsoft and Splunk for the last 4 years. So we've done quite a bit of research on the company. We can get back to you on the specifics of the contract
Yeah, well,
regarding.
I'm hoping that legal has something in there that constrains them from what they can and cannot do in terms of being a part of our system.
Yeah, and so a lot of that is going to be, it's all cloud-based now. So we would create them an account on our side to allow them read access and so we can, like I said, we can get back to you on the specifics of the data.
Yeah, because a lot, and then you go the cloud-based stuff, and then it gets right.
Yeah,
and it
I
gets.
don't want to confuse
That's
things.
well, no, but it's another level of anxiety.
Yep.
For those of us that remember, you know, CD-ROM and and work with that system before there was Windows. So, and with all the other security issues out there, right? I mean,
Can I just ask,
Tesla getting hacked.
along with your,
Yeah.
just ask, so you're at home working on a Wayne County laptop. What should we be doing when we're at home on our Wayne County laptops to make sure that it's secure in our home? We have a lot of people that work from home. What should they be doing?
We've done some cybersecurity training recently to kind of go over, you know, the do's and don'ts. But also, you know, your county devices are protected by, you know, things that we have put in place.
Is there anything they should be joining when they're at home?
No, the county devices, they have antivirus that work regardless if you're in the office or if you're at home. They still communicate with, basically Defender is our new antivirus. It communicates regardless of where you are.
Okay.
So it will detect anything. If you click on something bad in the office, or if you're at home, you click on something bad, it will still detect that.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So joining the VPN, what does that do for people at home or?
The county VPN would give you access to resources that are on premise here at Wayne County.
Okay, I just want to make sure that everyone's aware of, you know, what they should be doing and if it's okay to work from home and there's different routes. And because you said 3 o'clock in the morning, something could go awry in your computer and then you will know about that. So, because we have a lot of people that do work from home.
Yep.
Sorry, I
No,
just
it's
wanted
okay.
to know.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. But I would like to get that for me.
Yep.
That little comfort level. That how we keep in a cloud universe, how we keep these folks legally limited to what they can and cannot do. And everybody has bad actors too, right?
Mhm.
You might have some hot shot in the company that thinks, ooh, here's some stuff I can monetize. How are we protected? So what you can ship along on that, I'd be, I would love to see that.
Yep, absolutely.
Will do.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? Okay, if I could please get a motion for items number 5 and 6. And a second. So I have a motion from Commissioner Clean, seconded from Commissioner Clark Coleman. If everyone please vote on their tablets for items 5 and 6.
Motion carried.
Thank you. All right, now we are going to be on the agenda items 7, 8, and 9 all have to do with Oracle. And let's start with number 7. If you could please read that in, Madam Clerk.
Item 7, requesting commission approval of Amendment 4 to a cooperative agreement with Oracle America to add time to the Enterprise Resource Planning Project timeline.
Okay, and we have here in person, if you would please introduce yourself.
Through the chair, Mike Jamison, Connect 43 Project Director.
Hello, Mike, live
I'm
and
in
in person. So we're going to be doing increases,
Yep.
and if you just want to, let's just start with number 7, please.
Yeah, and I'll go from largest to smallest. So
Okay.
for item 7, that is the actual replan amendment to the Oracle implementation contract. And so essentially what that is doing is funding the change from the April 1st target go live to an October 1st target go live, namely around ERP and EPM. Primarily ERP, which is the financial system. The change is really because during the course of the implementation, we discerned additional reports and integrations that were above and beyond what had been scoped into the original contract. And so after doing analysis and determining that these were absolutely critical reports and integrations to have before we went live, meaning that we needed to test and validate them. Otherwise, we would risk going live and not having these reports and integrations validated. And so it creates a fiasco post go live. That's the bulk of this amendment, are the resources essentially being extended for those additional 6 months. Additionally, with the enterprise performance management, as you guys know, we're in a soft launch where we have people in our IT and budget division kind of kicking the tires in the production environment on EPM, but there are 2 integrations that are related to ERP modules that are part of this additional round of testing that we're doing in the implementation through the amendment. And so it would essentially allow us to do that testing and validation of those integrations for EPM and also have some resources extended for EPM for the October 1st go live.
Okay, so that was a word salad, everyone. And does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
Commissioner Clean?
Yeah, second. Could I characterize this like a construction job as a punch list?
I don't know what a punch, yeah, no, what is a punch list?
These are all the things we have to do before we open the bill.
Correct.
and sales. So that's what you're looking at, all of the steps. So that we're ready for October.
Correct. So essentially, on that punch list, to use that analogy, there were reports, integrations, and it's like, are we done? Check.
Yeah.
And so, no was the answer.
And then we also found that there was added things needed. That's why we're increasing.
Correct. Yeah, essentially,
numbers.
we went above and beyond the scope of the originally intended reports and integrations.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on number 7? Commissioner Knezek? I'm watching 2 screens here.
Yeah, I think let's just go through 8 and 9. I'll wait to the end to ask, just because my questions are kind of all encompassing.
All together. Okay, very good. Okay, Madam Clerk, if we could please read in number 8.
Item 8, requesting commission approval of a 12-month cooperative agreement with Oracle America to provide advanced support for technical matters related to Oracle Cloud infrastructure and identity and access management for Connect 43.
Yep. So this one I'm excited about. I think it's a potential game changer. And commission staff, rightfully asked the question, hey, is this, supplementing or taking away the work of the existing Wayne County SMEs? And it's a supplemental contract. Essentially, what this contract does is it brings in Oracle functional resources. And to give you a sense, we've been working with Oracle implementation resources. This is a different side of the Oracle house. These are folks that have worked in industry and also have Oracle functional and technical expertise. And the goal with this contract specifically is to address the constraint that we have with our hardworking Wayne County SMEs, most of whom have operational jobs, and then they're also SMEs, so they have Connect 43 work, and then they have their day-to-day work. And so the constraint is when we have a new item, whether that's an enhancement request, an issue, that same person is responsible for logging the issue, working with Oracle to resolve the issue, in some cases working with Oracle, the vendor, to resolve the issue that's been escalated to Oracle. So it's beyond the project team. Now we've escalated it to the Oracle team. And so they really have no ability to transition that work because they're the ones that are acutely involved in all steps of the resolution. With this contract, we're essentially bringing in resources to take some of that work off of our Wayne County SMEs' plate so that they don't necessarily have to be in attendance at all of the meetings, talking with Oracle, working through the resolution, testing and validating, doing quarterly regression testing, all the things that are really the responsibility of the county SME. And so, ultimately what the intent of this contract is to allow the SMEs to kind of go to a more higher value added space where they can focus on the most critical Oracle items, whether they're issues or enhancements, allow them time to do their day-to-day job, and also allow these Oracle SMEs to help with some of the things that aren't being done, like documentation, making sure that, the SMEs are involved in training and Oracle guided learning updates, et cetera. And so ultimately work-life balance is really kind of what we're trying to achieve so that, the pressure and the stress that a lot of our SMEs are on trying to get things right gets alleviated.
What is that word that you're saying?
Yeah.
Oracle
Subject matter experts, sorry.
Okay,
yeah.
that's what I thought, but I just needed to be reminded. Thank you. Subject matter
The
experts.
sneeze.
SME.
Yeah, and so there's-
SM,
And just to confirm, there's two.
SME.
So there's two set of subject matter experts on the project. You have Oracle, and they help with the implementation. Then you have Wayne County.
Right.
And so this is to specifically address the Wayne County subject matter expert burden.
Okay. You good? You want to wait till the next
We're
one?
good.
Okay, let's move on to number 9, please.
Item 9, requesting commission approval of a 12-month cooperative agreement with Oracle America to provide Oracle functional experts to directly assume responsibilities from existing county subject matters assigned to the various Connect 43 modules.
So yeah, this contract, and I don't know if the non-acronym is going to help, but it's specific to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and Identity Asset Management. And from a high level, those are the infrastructure that basically allows us to run Oracle Cloud at the county and then kind of make sure it's
Mike,
optimized.
just
Yeah.
so he already talked about number 9. Now he's talking about number 8. So you might not have our agenda in front of us.
Yeah.
So
I
just to
started
clear
with
everything up.
number 9.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it was the
Okay.
next
So
largest
now,
one.
okay, so now we're talking about number 8. Okay. Go right ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
no
so sorry.
worries.
I'm going to start.
No, no
again.
worries. So this is for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, OCI, and Identity Asset Management, or IAM. And essentially, these are components that allow the county to operate Oracle Cloud. And this is really a bucket of technical consulting hours to address items that, from an end user perspective, allows you to log in on multiple devices, allows you to log in using the same Wayne County credentials, regardless of whether you're accessing Oracle Cloud or accessing a county-based application. And it's just to essentially ensure that that process flows as smoothly as possible so people aren't experiencing issues with those items.
So this is an add-on for 94,850. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Questions, Commissioner Knezak.
How many modules is the entire build?
Good question. I'm trying to remember off memory, but definitively around 30, maybe a little more.
30 modules?
Yeah, so you have
How many sprints within the modules?
they're phased in different, so they all go through the same phases. You essentially have design, then you have prototype 1, where Oracle essentially kind of takes what has been designed and says, hey, does this look right? Then you have prototype 2, and this is a round of testing where now Wayne County subject matter experts and other key users jump into the system, but Oracle's kind of guiding them. Hey, step through. Does accounts payable look right? Accounts receivable look right? Payroll, core HR, et cetera. Then you have prototype 3, which is really, this is what's normally called in the industry systems integration testing. So now it's like, we want to test everything. We want to test all integrations, all reports. Essentially, it's the dry run before you literally do the implementation. The next phase is user acceptance testing. And so this is where you then get end users who aren't necessarily part of the project, but people who will be using the modules day to day. And essentially, hey, does this look and smell right? You see any issues? You then would go into what's called cutover, and this is essentially the wind down of the legacy system and the ramp up of the new Oracle system. And then at that point, if everything looks right, you flip the switch and it becomes production.
So it's not a rollout piece. It's a big bang where we're doing all the build, all the modules, and then all goes live at one time, right?
Right.
How many of the modules of the 30 that you think there are, how many are complete?
So good question. So HCM is live in production. EPM is in production, but we call it a soft launch. EPM kind of afforded us a unique opportunity because we didn't have a legacy budgeting system. So what we're doing really now is allowing IT and budget staff who are also doing budget development, which the soft launch kind of aids because it extends that window for them to do budget development and contribute to testing EPM. And essentially, we have right now EPM slated to go live October 1st along with ERP. I will add the caveat, we're looking at potentially pushing that hard launch of EPM to mid-November because budget development doesn't need to start in October, just to alleviate some of the burden on folks on having two go lives, EPM and ERP at the same time.
So you said live and in production. You
Yeah,
said
live
it's
and
live in production. I think of those as two separate things. It's live
They're the same
or
thing.
it's in production.
Yeah, they're
Which
same.
is it?
Yeah, both. Like go live and production are the same thing. When you go live, you move
Okay.
into production.
So some of the modules are live and functioning
And HCM is live and functioning.
So one of the 30 is live?
Well, no, so HCM has multiple modules. So within HCM, you have absence, benefits, core HR, compensation. I'm trying to think of all of them. Maybe call it 7 or 8.
Like recognizing HCM's got a bunch of modules in it, ERP's got a bunch of modules in it. But do we know what that number is? How many of the 30 modules?
It's the HCM modules.
How many?
I think it's around 8. I can't remember off the top.
So like 8 of the 30 are done at this point.
Correct.
Okay. And to date, how many change requests have come through? Like what's that delta between the projected timeline when we first had this conversation a while back and the delta between where we're at on the cost?
So I would need to I can tell you the delta on the cost from when I started, and it was at around 69 million. Now it's at 128 million. So call that roughly almost 60. Yeah.
Okay. And then
And then
from
I
a
think-
timeline perspective?
So good question. The original timeline, which was under a different system implementer, Cherry Road, I'm not sure what the original go live was. When I came in and it was Oracle, we were looking at that, and it was just HCM at that point. We were looking at January 1st for HCM and then October 1st, and this was 2024. January 1st, 2024 for HCM, October 1st, 2024 for ERP and EPM. And then ADW is essentially the data warehouse is essentially 2 months after the go lives of HCM and EPM. Now we are looking at, so HCM went live in July. So it was originally January 2024, went live July 2024. ERP, which is financials, was originally 10/1/2024. Now it's 10/1/2025. And EPM was, I think it was also 10/1/2024. And now hard launch is 10/1/2025. So a year off.
Okay. And then on the number side of things, that's not 120 that we've paid out to date. That's what it's
Correct.
projected to be by the time.
Yeah. So well, we've paid out to date.
And just to clarify too, I'm not worried about the Cherry Road
Yeah.
piece. Like when we broke that contract and started over with Oracle, like that's for my frame of reference. I'm just thinking back to when we started with this new.
Well, and the other change that we had was when I started, we switched PMOs from Guidehouse to Oracle as well.
Right. The pieces that you're asking about, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me on it, but like new documents that were missed along the way that we wanted to build into the functionality of the system, like, is it because we didn't have a comprehensive business process review ahead of time? Like, or is it just the functionality wasn't what we wanted when we put it through UAT, and so now we're trying to come back and correct it?
So officially, I don't know the answer to that. My guess would be, because I wasn't there when we did the original kind of scoping, but we under scope because we didn't fully know what we know now.
Mhm. And then the number 9 piece, just to be candid with you, when this first came through, and I don't think you were on board, I had pointed out, like in my experience with these projects, having that, I like using the word SME, so I'll keep doing it. Like having that SME at the table, not in a full-time role, is concerning to me because I think it's ridiculous to ask our staff to do like their full-time job and then also play a role when it comes to the IT development and what have you. This moves away from that. And for me, my concern would be, I'm not trying to be critical of you. I'm just, I think, sharing for the world, my concern on it's taking away the voice of the frontline employee who's going to be using it at the end of the day, replacing it with the Oracle staff. So for me, it gives me some pause. It might be the right way to get to where we need to go. But it just gives me some pause and some concern. And I'd be willing to venture a guess. Again, it's not you that's doing it. It's others. This is not the last change request we're going to see, and 120 is not going to be the final dollar value.
And I wish
October is not going to be the go live.
Well, so I will say this, obviously there's assumptions baked in. And then you execute and then you kind of buff it how you've executed up against the assumptions you had. The full intent is to go live October 1st. We think the additional contracts to Pierce Monroe, this contract to supplement the subject matter experts. I mean, I can say from my perspective, I just think the project had been undersourced because we hadn't gone live. We actually hadn't made it to the point where we took one of these environments into production. And so we got into production and we're able to really do a true assessment. Okay, did we have enough folks to kind of handle everything that came up? Now, that's HCM. That's a smaller environment than ERP. ERP is coming. What do we think we need to get in front of ERP so that we don't have it? You know, unfortunately, as we were executing ERP, we discerned that there's more reports and integrations than were originally scoped. But I think with the aggregate contract where we now have, literally we can point to HCM and say, that's what happened. That's what we thought. You know, we're just taking learnings and just incorporating them into the game plan. Now, to answer your question, are there future learnings that we haven't anticipated? Possibly.
Sure.
You're being frank. But, you know, we think it's a much better model than what we had initially and definitely than what you guys would have saw kind of, you know, at the beginning when Cherry Road was part of the process.
And lastly, I appreciate the latitude. I'll wrap it up, but just help remind me like all the cooks in the kitchen on this one, right? So who's doing the build? Who's doing the project management? Is there an IV&V component that we've brought in or a value add sort of administrator? What's that look like?
So good question. So Oracle Consulting is the system implementer with a subcontract to Danyati for EPM. The external PMO is Danyati. The internal PMO is my group. So, you know, my team is the one that essentially is responsible for managing the internal resources, making sure that we're doing our part, you know, i.e. like identifying reports and integrations that are needed, you know, as part of the implementation. Because, you know, with each of these waves, it's a discovery session at the beginning. You kind of have what you scoped, but then you start with, okay, let's sit down at the table. What do you need? What do you do currently? And then we scope it out. And then that's where you start to see during the implementation, someone says, oh yeah, I do this. Or, hey, what about this part? You know, an example is we found out that there was a work order application in JDE that many different, JD Edwards, that many different divisions and departments used. They like, it just was not part of anybody's scope at the time. And so, you know, flexibly, we said, okay, well, what all is everybody doing? Which parts relate to Connect 43? Which parts relate to kind of operational? We're not going to let the balls drop. So we're going to, you know, categorize it and say, hey, you know, these are all the things that are happening. But that's something that just was discerned during the implementation. Like, you know, it wasn't known before we started the process with ERP.
So who are the cooks in the kitchen?
So the cooks in the kitchen are the Oracle Consulting workstream leads and the subject matter experts from Wayne County. Like that's who are literally driving the build. In ERP, we also have additional oversight from the deputy CFO, and the CFO brought in a senior project advisor who was part of the ERP implementation and post-go live management at the city of Detroit. So we got, you know, an additional set of eyes to kind of do smell test and say, okay, does that look right, et cetera.
What platform are we building it on?
So so everything is going to be in the Oracle Cloud production environments for enterprise resource planning, financials, enterprise performance management, budget, and HCM payroll, which is HR payroll.
Okay. And is it this whole product custom build COTS where?
No. So Oracle Cloud, really the whole design of going to the cloud is to get away from customization. So Each module has a configurable set of options, kind of based on how the county does business, and then, really transformatively wants to do business. You have option A, B, C, or D, and then you kind of configure against option A, B, C, or D, unless there's some super extraneous requirement that, we can't get around that requires, an evaluation of a custom build. But Oracle doesn't really allow you to customize.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you very much.
Yep. Well, and to answer your, one point that you had made, I just wanted to respond to, the Wayne County subject matter experts will still absolutely be involved in the go forward implementation and maintenance with the Oracle contract, the $6.5 million 1008. The key is just to really allow them to focus on high level. These folks would be reporting directly to me, dotted line to them. And so they're going to be involved because ultimately the institutional knowledge is still the Wayne County subject matter expert. These folks are coming in with the Oracle institutional knowledge. And so we're melding the two and also alleviating an administrative burden on the Wayne County subject matter experts.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Okay, we will be keeping an eye on all of this and looking at your next report, what has happened in March. So we have 3 contracts here that I need a motion for: number 7, number 8, and number 9. And I have thank you. I have a motion from Commissioner Clean. Can I get a second, please? Yes, sir.
Before we go to a vote, like, make one request.
Yes.
Can you provide for us a list of the Wayne County employees
Commissioner
that are
Clean.
working on this, how long they've been in the county? Because we've had a lot of brain drain go out of this county all across the county. And so I'd like to see,
So you're asking for the Wayne County employees that are working on this. Okay,
Duly noted.
sure.
And
Sure.
can I add to that point, one of the benefits of the subject matter expert supplementation is to help mitigate just what you said. We actually lost our deputy procurement director who was heavily involved. Yeah.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so we do have a motion and a second. If you could please vote on your tablets.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, next item, please.
Moving back to the agenda, F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I know of none. Next item.
G, public comments.
Okay, now is our time for public comment. Are the lines open?
The lines are open.
Okay, do we have any emails?
No emails were received.
Okay, second call for public comment. Last call, public comment. Anyone in the chamber that would like to address us? Okay, public comment is now closed. Next item.
Adjournment.
So moved.